When was the last time you just sat with yourself in silence? How long could you actually be in that space before you started feeling the need to fill it up? Music, with TV, with social media, with food, with work. Anything to avoid sitting with ourselves and facing whatever's inside. We live in a very noisy world, a world full of distractions. But sometimes the loudest noise of all is the silence within. And when we try to run from it, it only gets louder until we stop and we listen. There's this beautiful quote by Mark Nepo who says, "You're not looking for purpose. You're running from emptiness." I think that's so true. We're not looking for purpose, trying to avoid the void, the emptiness within. Because when we face that emptiness, then we have to face ourselves. Then we have to face who we are, why we are, and what we're doing here. And most of us are not ready for that. Most of us don't want to face that. So instead we keep running. We stay busy. We work more, we party more, we eat more, we drink more, we distract ourselves in any way we can, just to avoid being in that space of emptiness, of silence. But the truth is, that's where the answers lie. That's where the healing is. That's where the growth is. Can we survive the silence inside us? Can we sit with our pain? Can we face our traumas? Can we look at the parts of ourselves that we don't want to look at? We feel the feelings that we've been avoiding? This is the ultimate test, my friends. To be able to sit with ourselves in silence and to be okay with the aloneness, to be okay with the emptiness, because that's where we're going to find our purpose. I remember years ago when I first started my journey of self-discovery, one of the things that really helped me was just sitting in silence, closing my eyes and listening to what was inside. I would ask myself questions like, why do I feel the way I feel? Why do I think the way I think? Why do I do the things I do? And I would just sit there and I would listen. And slowly but surely, I started to hear the answers. I started to understand the patterns, the beliefs, the stories that I had been holding on to that were no longer serving me. And through that process, I was able to heal. I was able to grow, was able to transform. Now I'm on the other side of that, helping others do the same. So if you're struggling, if you're feeling lost or confused or stuck, know that you're not alone. We've all been there. And the answer is to go within, to sit in silence, and to listen to what's inside. There's a beautiful story about a woman who went to a monastery to learn how to meditate. And she went to the head monk, and she said, "I want to learn how to meditate. I want to learn how to sit in silence." And the head monk said, "Okay, go and sit in our meditation room for 10 minutes. So she sat down, she closed her eyes, and she started to meditate. But after 2 minutes, she heard some noise outside, and she opened her eyes and she thought, well, it's not that easy. How am I supposed to sit here for 10 minutes when there's so much noise around? So she went back to the head monk and she said, "It's impossible to sit in silence for 10 minutes. There's too much noise. There's too many distractions." And the head monk simply smiled and he said, "That's exactly where you need to start, right there, right where you are. With all the noise, with all the distractions, that's where you need to learn how to sit in silence. That's where you need to learn how to be present." So don't think that you have to get away from everything in order to find peace. In order to find your purpose, you don't have to escape from the messiness. You don't have to escape from the noise. You have to learn how to sit in the middle of it all and find the stillness. You have to learn how to sit in the middle of the storm and find the calm. And when you find that calm, then you'll find your purpose. So I encourage you today to take some time to sit in silence, to sit in the middle of your messiness, and to listen to what's inside. What is it that you really want? What is it that you're running from? And when you find the answers to those questions, then you'll be on your way to finding your purpose.